Short week as we play Thursday night, and we play an AFC West rival as the Raiders come to town. The Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, you're about ready to get started with it. Let's talk about this AFC West rivalry, this game coming up, and how we shouldn't maybe look past it. All that and more right about now. Welcome into the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. My name is Keith Brugman. I'll have my good friend Jody Moncrief right over there on the other side of the screen talking in just a moment. Just wanted to mention that we're brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We got an amazing sponsor in Morgan Trinkets. We'll talk about more of them later. But man, oh man, look at that. Broncos leading the AFC West, getting things done, taking care of business. What's their reward, Jody? Messing up your Sunday, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, by getting a Thursday night football game. It's going to be on tomorrow night. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to get to the posse as well. I see your comments flowing in. Keep it coming, everybody. How's it going, Jody?
Going good. Ready to get this Thursday night game behind us. I hate Thursday night games, but no one asked my opinion, so I guess Thursday night it is.
Thursday night it is. I will say this, man. After, I can't remember, was it 3-4 years ago, we got the absolute snub. No primetime games, no Monday night football games, no Sunday night football games, no Thursday night. We're like hoping that we maybe, get a flex game at some point. That was our season. It's a completely different atmosphere around the Broncos, and the NFL knows it. They put us on a Thursday night. They got a matchup, which they thought, I think they thought this was going to be a better matchup for Thursday night than it ended up being, as our 6-2 Broncos, 7-2 Broncos, I'm sorry, I'm behind the times, 7-2 Broncos matchup and welcome, I guess, if you welcome the Raiders in any capacity. We welcome the 2-6 Raiders to town tomorrow night. I'm going to welcome the posse in, like Mr. Ernie Mays, man. Ernie Mays, remind me what your prediction was, sir, at the very beginning of the year. I believe I owe you an apology for a few chuckles I may have had. And right now, 7-2 and staring down 8-2, like Ernie Mays is mentioning, I might owe you an apology for the chuckles that I had. Go Broncos country only. Tomorrow we go 8-2. Hello, Keith and friends. Good to see you, Mr. Ernie Mays. Mr. Paul Schaefer chiming in over on YouTube, saying, howdy, partners. Howdy, partners. Want some chow? Welcome, Paul. Good to see you, buddy. Good to talk a little Broncos football. I always love talking Raiders, Broncos, Raiders. I was hoping it would be a better matchup too. No better time, though, than to welcome in my good friend, and aloha to him, Mr. Patrick Wilsey. Aloha, my Bronco horseman. Aloha to you, my friend. Good to see you. Albert, the Mile High Dutchie, coming in saying, hey, y'all, good to see you, my friend. And Jody, always being on top of the news, broke this one to me. Albert broke it in the comments. Mims will not be there tomorrow night. We're going to get into that here in a little bit, man, as the injury bug has hit the Broncos just a little bit. And Mims has gotten caught up in that. It all started when we got rid of Josie Jewell. That's when we started getting all the primetime games again, Victor. Victor, that might be right. I think you're about right. About the time we got rid of Josie Duel. Good to see you, though, Victor. And good to see Miss Pearl. Miss Pearl does own Morgan Trinkets, our amazing sponsor. And we'll talk about her and her amazing company here in a little bit. But hello to you. It's good to see you. And Adam and Kayla. Adam gave me a whole bunch of Broncos reels a little bit earlier, man. Some pretty awesome ones and some memes. He said, "Good evening, Keith. Good evening, family. We must not overlook this game. We know we've been known to lose within the division, no matter what the record." Yes, that I kind of said that at the very top, man. This is not a game that I want to look past too much because it's an easy one to do. We'll get into the breakdown here in just a second. Just one more. Roy's coming in here and saying, "Good evening, Horseman and Posse." We will see if we go 8-2, hopefully, but we have to get our ducks in a row. In a full moon. Dang, says Pearl. So, full moon, and Clayton. Oh my goodness! I'll just say hello to all the posse. I promise you'll get to talk, Jody. I promise. This isn't just me talking to the posse. We're going to break down this game here in just a second. But Clayton coming in here and saying, "Hey, guys, smash that like and share." Posse, you guys are absolutely amazing. Love you. Thanks for coming in with all your comments. We're going to get into the comments about the game now. Let's break it off with the news that you broke off before we went live, and Albert mentioned as well in the comments. Marvin Mims, not a go again, man. I think we all had hopes that he would have a chance to go against Houston, but now it looks like he's not going to go against the Raiders tomorrow, Thursday night.
I think it's another big loss. More on the special team side. We've seen, Bandy muff a punt last week.
Whew. Yeah, it was bad.
But it's another game where Harvey more playing time and kind of Mims' role. Let these three wide receivers figure out, getting more playing time. So, I mean, I guess this is probably the best opponent we have left to miss Mims. One that's not scary and one that traded away their best wide receiver yesterday. So, some stuff's on our side, but like Roy said, we need to have our ducks in a row. Don't overlook this, or you could be staring at a New York Giants game or New York Jets game. Sorry, and Geno's coming off a 4-touchdown game last week, so I don't know if that's just a one-hit wonder this year or if they're starting to figure some things out.
Was it 4 or was it 3? I guess it was maybe. Yeah, it was 4. That's right.
I think it was 4.
Yeah. No, best game. And that's one of the things we need to keep in mind as we look into this matchup. The Raiders, I know that they lost. They went to overtime. They went for a 2-point conversion and they didn't get it. And that's how they end up losing that game last week. It was a close game. It was their best performance as a team, as a whole, probably the entire season, Jody. It's something to kind of build off of for them, even though it's a loss. I know we talk about how there shouldn't be any moral victories, but in a season where they have just been quite honestly pathetic at times and not even showing up to games, getting shut out in a game. That was the game right before this one. This is a lot that they can end up building on, and you don't want to be stuck thinking this is just a 2-16 that we get to steamroll on Thursday night as we welcome them into Mile High Stadium. Paul's got a question though, and it does kind of raise a question. Michael Bandy, maybe didn't prove that he should be called up a second week in a row if Marvin Mims is down. We do have some different opportunities to kind of mix it up on special teams, but if we're looking for another wide receiver to pull up, are we looking at A.T. Perry time? Who we gonna pull up? Will it be Michael Bandy? Will it be somebody else?
I would think that it would be A.T. Perry, but we really won't know till tomorrow. Bandy, I guess, could get called up again. They're going to have to decide who's going to catch punt. And I think that's the big question. I think if PS2 was healthy, they would just put Moss back there, but I don't think they want to risk losing him,
On a return.
on a return or something. So, I mean, I think it's a coin flip. You might see Bandy again. Just because they don't have anyone else back there that can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that he did it well, anyways.
I'm trying to recall. I know that RJ Harvey returns kicks. I was trying to recall. I thought I saw him back at training camp taking punt returns as well, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to go back and look at some footage. I'm just trying to think of who else has a possibility to be in that rotation and take returns. As you said, you don't want to get Riley Moss hurt. Marvin Mims is out. Michael Bandy, you're holding your breath. You know what I mean? Where else do you turn?
What's crazy about it is he's been on practice squad all year. They don't have a. I mean, who is the guy if Marvin Mims goes down before Bandy was called up?
I think it might have been. I think it might have been Riley Moss, but I think you're right.
Come in the last one, but
I think you're right. It kind of compounds things with PS2 being out currently. You don't want to have Riley Moss thinking he's got a lane that it's a lane to getting blown up, and next thing you know, he's not out there. For the next series or longer. Knock on wood, we don't need anything like that. So, great question, man. I appreciate the question. It could be an A.T. Perry time, Paul, and we'll be finding out here soon enough. The next question is who gets actually playing time? We could see an A.T. Perry call up, but we might not see an A.T. Perry sighting on the field. Not all 53 players obviously get to see the football field every Sunday. So, but the return will be a big thing. Just, hopefully we're causing lots of punts, so we'll figure this out real quick.
I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath, but I would like to see A.T. Perry. I think there's one other wide receiver on the practice squad, but just for the fact of a lot of Broncos fans, myself included, wanted us to go get a playmaker. So, now's the time. Why not see if A.T. Perry can maybe be the spark? I mean, like I said, I'm not holding my breath, but you never know.
Well, it's kind of like Michael Bandy, though. At the same time, you got to figure out what you got. It's not like A.T. Perry is brand new to the roster. That would be our new tight end, but he gets to see the field week one. A.T. Perry gets to hang out. At some point, it would be nice to see what we have. It would be nice to see what we have there.
Bandy made a couple. I think he had 2 catches in the game. Schofield, he's pretty much went MIA on offense, so I think he's pretty much been replaced by Pat Bryan as that blocking guy out there, and he's mainly just on this roster now as a special teams guy. So
yeah. That's probably the other guy I was thinking of. I wonder if Trent Sherfield could go back there and return some, because I think that's in his bucket of tricks that he brought to the Denver Broncos. I want to say,
and that's why I always thought that losing Smith, that went to Houston,
Trayvon Smith.
Yeah. Trayvon Smith, I thought people, kind of overlooked that, but he was your special teams ace and could do punt and kickoff. So,
yep.
But just figure out a way to, if you got to have someone, I don't even care. Don't put anyone back there on punt. For all I care, at least you're not turning the ball over with a muff. So at this point, really,
just let it play where it plays. We'll pick it up from there. Patrick's wondering if the Jaleel might be a possibility, and I'm wondering how many weeks in a row Michael Ronquillo is going to come in here and just be an awesome supporter of this podcast, dropping 100 stars. Just saying good evening, Keith and Jody, and go Bo Broncos. Blue and orange hearts got that mile high salute. Jody, we'll keep it kind of on that offensive side. We started talking about Marvin Mims. We got off on special teams a little bit. Special teams, I think, is going to be really key in this game. But since we have go Bo Broncos, what do you think Bo's going to do in this matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders? Because pretty good safety play. but beyond their safety play, I mean, they've been torched quite a bit. 4 games that they have allowed over 30 points in the 6 games in the 2-6 record that they have. So, of those, like I said, 4 games over 30 points, that's pretty significant. What do you think Bo's going to be able to do against this Las Vegas Raiders defense?
The first thing I hope he does is settle his feet. I mean, they were all out of sorts against Houston. If you go watch some of the all 22 and some stuff, Denver missed about 3 probably touchdowns on go routes. If Bo just sets his feet and makes a throw, it was brought up again in Peyton's press conference, and Peyton says it is something that's being addressed to, hanging. You got to work on hanging in the pocket a little more. So hopefully that is the first thing that gets taken care of. If that happens, I mean, go look at the touchdown pass you can see in back-to-back plays when feet are set and when feet are an overthrow to a wide open Evan Ingram that should have been a touchdown, and then a touchdown to Cortland Sutton the next play. Same with the Harvey pass. And then, just like, for example, the interception that he threw, I think Sutton, instead of sliding to the ground, could have probably went and fought for it a little more, but the ball was underthrown and his feet were just off. He didn't throw from a good platform. So, I mean, that is really what's holding him back from taking that next to the elite status, in my opinion.
Yep. I agree, man. Next step for Bo is to get settled. And it makes me wonder. I mean, we did go up against a top 5 defense. We did go after a defense that was known to get pressure. It's the clock is a little bit quicker, and he's just got to be able to manage that a little bit better. He needs to calm himself, I think, a little bit better, because you see it when A, he doesn't have to think about it, or B, I think when he knows that he's up against kind of an inferior defense, that he feels protected by his offensive line wholly. I think there's 2 different Bo Nixes that we see in those 2 instances. If he can go ahead and concentrate and just trust his offensive line, trust himself, and deliver on platform on time, don't second guess some of his throws, don't double clutch a little bit. We see these little hitches in his game that just keep him, I mean, so close from taking that next step, because then we see it when it is right and we see what he is capable of. Just needs to settle down. I need to get to a couple of comments too. Since our good friend Michael Ronquillo dropped some stars, he says we have 2 things. First things first, Denver's Broncos haters, Nick Wright, and now Danny Parkins, after his top 10 ranking after week 9, he has the Kansas City Chiefs over the Denver Broncos in his top 10s. He has the Kansas City Chiefs top 5, or number 5 in his top 10. Thought we were over it. Thought we're getting some little bit of love and respect at this point, but it's not coming from all around the league. I gotta be honest, man. Nick Wright is just absolutely in love with the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's nothing that's going to be ever going to change that. He is who he is. We have big media guys who are Cowboys fans. We have big media guys who are Kansas City Chiefs fans. I'm sure we'll have more around on different trains around the corner, but right now, a little disrespect, I think across the board. They're not the only 2 that have the Kansas City Chiefs right up there at the top. And here the Broncos sit pretty far out in front of them right now at this point.
I agree, but I think a lot of it comes from the wild inconsistencies of this offense. Like I've said before, they don't have to score a touchdown every drive, but just some of you have wide open guys, and Bo just doesn't. To me, a lot of it's on Bo. Sean Payton has ingrained so much in his mind. You can't take a sack. Don't take sacks. That I think he bails too early. when he doesn't need to because he's afraid to take a sack. And that's where I've said before, I think there are good sacks and bad sacks. If you hang in the pocket a little more, and if you take a sack, so what? I'll take 2 or 3 more sacks a game if he will hang in the pocket and set his feet and connect on 2 or 3 more deep shots like he missed in the game or open wide receivers. So, but to the Nick Wright thing, I mean, he's delusional. He's a Kansas City lover, and there's nothing Bo Nix is going to be able to do unless put it to Kansas City in 2 weeks. But then there will still be some sort of excuse why. At this point, it's just, to me, seems like it's clickbait, and the more we discuss it, I mean, that's what he wants out of it. It's getting clicks and likes and whatever. And Kansas City's in our rearview mirror. We're 2 games up on Kansas City, and we play them win this week, and we play them in another week, and you can put them three games behind you, and you can really lock up this AFC West, or at least narrow it down to 2 teams. So just focus on what you can control, because the fixing Bo Nix in the pocket, that's something I don't think is that hard of a problem, because we've seen him do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he does it, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in football. He just has to do it more consistent.
I mentioned it before, Jody, but that's exactly what I'm expecting to see. This is a Las Vegas Raiders team that has beat up Max Crosby. He's been working through a knee and a shoulder and giving it his all, but he's not Max Crosby at his elite level. That's their defense for the most part. They have a couple of safeties, and I like their safeties. I think they have some good back-end help on their safeties, but their corners, their linebackers, their defensive line should be nothing we're concerned about. And it should be no concern for Bo Nix. I feel like this is a game that he should be able to go in with confidence. The only thing that might be holding him back is this short week that he's been on and the short amount of time he has to prepare for him. But beyond that, this is a team that is not like the Houston Texans. And I thought that we might be able to dominate the Houston Texans with our defense. We'll talk about the Las Vegas Raiders offense and the Denver Broncos defense here in a second. But this is a game for me when you look at the Las Vegas Raiders, who rank, mid-20s-ish, you know what I mean, when it comes to their running game. I'm sorry. When it comes to their passing game, they're like mid-20s as far as their rankings are considered, as far as defense in most statistical categories, where they're like teens and pushing almost top 10 in some of their defensive running categories, as far as a defense is concerned, and what they're able to limit their opponents to. So I do feel this is a game where we should see Bo Nix go off. We should see some completions and some good platform throws and some statistics for Bo Nix in this, the weapons on offense, man. What are your thoughts as we get into this game, at least offensively? Do you still see this being a J.K. Dobbins game? Because I know you love the run game, or is this a game that you see Bo Nix attacking through the air?
I don't think it needs to be a J.K. Dobbins game, but what it needs to be is the balance can't get out of whack like it was against Houston. I mean, I think we had 4 runs the first half. Someone has got to be in Peyton's ear, like, run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Dobbins is averaging like 6 something a carry, and we're throwing it all over. Now, granted, I will say, whatever Denver's seen on tape, they were throwing a lot of just go routes. And Bo missed. Like I said, I bet he missed at least 3 of them that should have been touchdowns. So, but again, Bo has even said in interviews the run game helps him a lot. So Peyton, it's never going to – I think that Dallas was a one-off where it was almost 50-50. But if you can get a 60-40, 55-45, something like that, that's where it needs to be. Bo can't be throwing 40, 50 times. That's not going to work. So Peyton's got to help him out, and the run game will go to what you said. I think will help Bo, get in rhythm, feel a little more, confident in the pocket and some different things. So
I saw a comment in here. It was from Dutchy. I'll see if I can pull it up. But he likes the three-headed monster between Dobbins and R.J. Harvey and Bo Nix. What are your thoughts about Bo Nix? How he's used his legs so far this season, and how much Sean Payton has used that? And then I know Phil has some stars and a question lurking in here. I'm going to get to that here in just a minute as well. So Phil, hang with me, buddy. But what are you thinking there as far as Bo Nix? We've seen Dobbins obviously take over games. We've seen R.J. Harvey getting more and more integrated into this offense, especially from the passing side of things. We can see if he can get the running game going a little bit better for himself as well. But Bo Nix, I always thought he was a weapon. Do you think he's being utilized so far throughout the season?
I wish that they would call 2 or 3 more designed just run plays for Bo Nix. But I don't want to see, because I think that's part of the problem. Bo knows he's athletic enough to get out of the pocket and run and get you 4 or 5 or 6 every play. And I think that's part of also what's causing the happy feet in the pocket. And do I want to hang in here 1 second longer and get a 15-yard throw? Or, I can run out here and get 6. I think that's part of it. So I don't want to see I don't want to see that. The design runs where he gets a snap and takes off, especially that one around the left side. That play really seems to be working well. And I'd like to see Bo Nix get under center more. I think that'll help a lot of things. And then Dobbins, I think Dobbins has been awesome this year. But you got to keep working in Harvey, if for nothing more, just to keep Dobbins healthy, because come playoff time, I think there might be a game, whether it's the first game, the second game, where you might have to ride Dobbins 30 times, and you're in that type of game like Buffalo did to us last year, and you're going to need him. So whether it's hitting or not for Harvey, you've got to keep kind of forcing it, just because you want the team to honor the run, but you're hoping that he eventually figures it out, because I don't know that Dobbins, he's never made it through a whole season. So we're at that point now that it's like, where are we at if he really does go down?
Well, luckily we're only getting him 4 carries in the first half, Jody. So see, we're trying to save him. We're trying to get as much as we possibly can out of RJ Harvey. More RJ Wildcat, says Paul. And I'll say this. I think that RJ has opened up the eyes for Peyton. I don't know if we'll see it against the Raiders, but I think there's plenty still up the sleeve of Sean Payton for RJ Harvey, and maybe a couple of pieces that you keep for just those particular times, man.
There's a pass at some point for me in the Wildcat, because he did play quarterback in high school. So
a couple times breaking the huddle right there at the goal line and having him lined up there in the Wildcat. Yeah, we'll see what everything that is planned. I think, especially just the way the season's going, we'll want to put it on display and get a win somehow. And I'll be excited to see. I think you're right, though. I think there's a pass maybe in there. I want to talk about our amazing sponsor, but first I'm going to get everyone worked up about this defense with Phil's question. Everyone can chime in, but I want Jody thinking about this one. He says, "Good evening, Keith and Judge. Will Nick Benito get his 2 sacks this week?" So everyone chime in with your thoughts around that as I tell you about our amazing sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices for over 34 years. Now they just hang out in your backyard. If you're hanging out in northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, they're doing shows all the time, people. So if there's something going on at your fairgrounds, there's a gem show, a mineral show, a dog show, something like that, check it out. You might find Morgan Trinkets hanging out there right now. But I'm telling you, if you can't get out there, you're getting ready for the holidays, I got you all taken care of. Head on over to Etsy, type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. Morgan Trinkets Co. You'll have everything that Pearl has to offer. She just told me that she updated everything on there. So check it out. All orders over $50 are shipped absolutely free, and all major credit cards are accepted. She also has an amazing eBay store. If you type in Pearl Heat, that's Pearl Heat, you should pull up Morgan Trinkets. And I don't know why I took that down, but you should pull up Morgan Trinkets. You'll have everything that she has to offer over there. And, all terms and conditions apply for eBay over there. So Morgan Trinkets, Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Stake Gold at wholesale prices. Check them out. They're an amazing sponsor. Holidays are around the corner. You want to check them out. Good evening, Keith and Jody. Will Nick Bonito get his 2 sacks this week? We're switching over to the defensive side of the balls. Will he line up against Geno Smith and Ashton Genty and a Jacoby-less Las Vegas Raiders? Do you think Nick Bonito, though, is going to be able to rough up Geno Smith for a couple of sacks this week? I'll get your thoughts, and I'll see what the posse has to say on this as well.
I'm going to go with he gets 1 this week. I'd like to see him just get off the schneid. What's he been 3-4 games without a sack? Still getting a lot of pressure, but no sack. He is going up against Colton Miller, who is probably a top 10 left tackle in this league. But I'd like to see him get off this 3-4 game sackless streak. But I don't think this is, on a short week again, I don't think this is the game where he just goes off.
Yeah, trying to get your legs underneath you under a short week and then get after a quarterback. This is what I will say. 21 sacks so far for Geno Smith this year. They've played 8 games. It's almost 3 a game. Almost 3 a game that they're giving up. And they haven't faced the Denver Broncos. Nick Bonito with 1.5 sacks, says Albert Knoppers. Nick Bonito with 4 sacks against the Las Vegas Raiders, says Michael Ronquillo. Really getting off the schneid. Ernie Mays is coming in with 3 sacks and an interception. Why not? Hit the interception stats, 11 interceptions from Geno Smith so far this year. So there's a possibility of an INT. Averaging over 1 a game, there's opportunity there for the Denver Broncos. And I thought I saw one more. Roy's saying, I say he can. The O-line for the Raiders offense isn't all that good. You could see Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper switching it up a little bit, given favorable matchups, so he's not always going up against Colton Miller, and that might help him out a little bit as well.
I will say one thing I've noticed on film a little bit is he's been a lot more controlled with his rush, not to take himself out of the run plays, especially. And you can see that where it's not just dive bomb inside or completely take himself out of any sort of outside edge containment. So where it's going to happen more when you, and this is where Denver needs to win on first and second down, where they really can put them in 100% passing on third down type plays where he can just let it loose.
Paul's just reminding, he's saying, let's take him from 21 to 26 as far as the sacks are concerned. Get 5 sacks because he did score 4 touchdowns in this last game. Like I said, best game all the way around for the Las Vegas Raiders was their loss last week in overtime by just a point as they went for a 2-point conversion. Brock Bowers had 3 touchdowns in the game. Geno Smith, obviously, 4 touchdowns in the game. Ashton Genty looked pretty decent in that game. And that kind of brings me to I want to hit Ashton Genty. This was a running back that was, beloved by Broncos country pre-draft. I think that we all salivated at the possibility, the chance that Ashton Genty might fall. We might be able to trade up for. But so far, Ashton Genty with the Las Vegas Raiders hasn't blown the doors off the league. Let's just put it that way. Obviously, Cam Scatterbo, until he got hurt, was the running back everyone was really talking about out of this rookie class. How much do you attribute that to the team that he's on versus his adaptation to the NFL year one and being a rookie in the league as a running back?
All of the above. Plus, I will add. I think that he got overhyped for coming out of the conference he did in the competition he played. He is not the guy I am worried about. I mean, besides Jonathan Taylor, who's done it all year, and he's probably a top 2 running back in the NFL. Denver's not really let a running back do anything on him this year. The guy I am worried about, and he's back healthy again, is Brock Bowers. I mean, he went for 12 for 127 and 3 touchdowns last week. That's the guy. What Denver does with him. I like that Denver's been using Jahdae Barron a lot more on tight ends since probably the Giants game. Ferguson did nothing. Dalton Schultz really, I mean, he had the one kind of big catch, but that was not against Barron. And then he really did nothing. So that's going to be interesting what they do with Bowers, because you're not going to have PS2 like last year where we finally just put PS2 on Bowers. So what Denver does there? Do they move Marley Moss in there on him? Who is their number 1 wide receiver now? I'm not even sure who that is. So that's the matchup for me.
Yeah, and Kenny, I missed this. Thank you, Michael Ronchio, the Ronk, getting us taken care of and pointing me up the chat board to Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick, who said, "Good evening, everyone. My question for the Horsemen and the Posse is, who is more important to stop Thursday, Brock Bowers or Ashton Genty?" And you answered it, I think, from your perspective, and I'm just going to double down, man. Brock Bowers obviously took the league by storm. Brock Bowers was injured. He came back off of a bye week and put on an absolute show last week. I know that we haven't had the issues, and Victor, if you're still out there, that we had with Josie Jewell and coverage on tight ends for quite some time. It seems like those problems have gone away, knock on wood. And like you said, I like how Jahdae Barron has been, allocated to tight ends, and he's done a fantastic job. I love his length. He has long arms for his position, and he gets out there on big tight ends, I think, quite well. But you're still going up against Brock Bowers. It's going to be a big matchup. It's going to be the guy that they're looking at, and obviously the guy that they looked at all last week with the stats that he was able to pull in and put together. You mentioned it, Jody. No Jacoby Myers. The cupboard looks a little bare. They did bring in Tyler Lockett, as a reunion with Pete Carroll. But their wide receiver room is nothing stock full. You know what I mean? Nothing that anybody's trying to go after at the trade deadline per se, besides Jacoby Myers. So it'll be interesting. Go ahead, buddy.
I was going to say, I do have a question. If people are going to pick Genty over Bowers, I think Greenlaw played 27 snaps last week. Do you see more, less, about the same? Are we going to ramp him up a little bit more this week, or are we about the same and then we're just going to ramp him up completely next week? Where are we at? Because that's a guy, I mean, when Houston had the ball down there at the goal line and he made 3 right in a row, stuffed the running back and, from scoring a touchdown. That's the guy that pretty important if Genty does start to find something.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I do kind of agree with Roy though. I one thing I haven't seen is that offensive line hasn't been really good at opening up a whole lot for Genty. So he's had make a lot of his own yards between the tackles. He has the ability to bounce it outside and that lane integrity that you're talking about from like a Nick Bonito. That's why that becomes really important because you don't want to let that guy beat you around the edge because he can beat you around the edge, and that's where yards can really pile up. But the second part of it is, like you said, he does get through that first line of defense. He gets to that second tier. I'm hoping to see Dre Greenlaw take another step forward. I think we saw kind of a similar path when we were bringing guys back at the very beginning of the season, aka like an Alex Singleton, where we kind of ramped him up and got him integrated in over a few weeks and rotated him out at that position a little bit. Dre Greenlaw looks pretty good though, man. So I just want to take my time with him, have him for the long run. But you're right. I think it does make a big difference if we don't see Dre Greenlaw this weekend and Ashton Genty starts moving the ball. I think the biggest thing though is if we have that opportunity. We talked a little bit about offense. If things start clicking on offense, Jody, you put the Raiders in a little bit of a hole, right? And then they're not allowed to maybe utilize the run game. You're asking Geno to go back there and sling the ball a little bit more in order to stay within the game, and that obviously plays into use of the teeth of the defense. How do you feel? I know that we talked about these wide receivers maybe not being the most elite wide receivers in the NFL, but we are without PS2 still, as Roy's pointing out here. Riley Moss is a little bit banged up with an ankle, though we don't expect a whole lot to come out of that, but something to be noted as we do go into this short week and match up against the Raiders. Any concern about the secondary and how they match up against the Raiders in general?
No, I'm not worried about that. I mean, Geno leads the NFL, or I think he's tied for the NFL lead in interceptions with 11. Geno's not been good this year. So I don't know if I think last week was kind of just a one-off. The Jags defense is not very good either. So this is a game where I think maybe we can get a little pressure on him and you can get a pick on Geno. He's been a turnover machine this year. So I'm not I'm not worried about. I would be more worried that Denver just comes in and it's a kind of a yuck game like they played against the Jets, where it was like they just kind of sleptwalk through the whole thing.
Yeah, the offense,
and not to look forward to who our next opponent is, because I know that's on everyone's mind next Sunday.
And probably this bye week, man. Let's face it, man. We're going to be 10 games into the season at this point, by the time we wrap this one up. And, as I'll just point out, Phil is pointing out, I like the fact that we all have some extra time to heal, study tape before we get to KC at home. Now, if we wear those throwbacks next week, it's a lock for us to win. I'm not sure about the throwbacks and the lock to win, but I think this team has every reason to go out there and fight hard, knowing that they do have this bye week coming up, and then they have the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that that's a key difference between just having Kansas City the next week, right? If you didn't have that bye in there, right now everyone's working for the bye. It's like, go out there, get your job done. We get a week off, we can go recover the whole night. If it was just like, hey, we got to worry about Kansas City next week, I think that takes a different mentality. I like this setup the way it is, and I like what Phil's kind of saying here. Hey, go out there, take care of business versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Get that bye week, get yourself healthy, get yourself a little more time to study, watch tape, and go take care of business. In the meantime, too, while you're on their bye week, maybe Kansas City loses. And then how far up are you then? I'm just saying.
And that's why this game is important, because you've built a 2-game lead on them, and you go and give a game away against a team that you're much better than. You've
Oh
basically
yeah.
thrown away the 2-game lead, and there's so that's why this is important. It's important for me for that and to work on some things. Bo needs to just work on settling in the pocket, that type of thing. Even in the Dallas game, the touchdown to Franklin, he double clutched. He was kind of off the interception. I just want to see a clean game of just hanging in the pocket and throwing from the pocket. And if you got to do magic in the fourth quarter, so be it. But work on that and get that figured out.
Yeah, no kid, man. This offense, I even saw a little clip from Aqib Talib. He goes, "We start hitting those big ones, those deep ones. Watch out, watch out. This offense is that close. We clear some things up on offense, and we need to shut down the offense. Period." Says Pearl. We also want to get off to a big lead, and man, we are set for a win. Not only in this game, but wins in the future as well. So Dom's coming in. He says, got to watch out for the quick passes. That's how the Colts got lots of yards, getting tons of yards after the catch. And that's something that Brock Bowers absolutely racked up last week. That's something that a quick pass over the middle, a quick pass on an out route to a guy like Brock Bowers can absolutely kill you on this one. Brock Bowers has got to be the key on this. Got to be the key. I can't stress that enough. I'm going to have my eyes on Brock Bowers every single time the Raiders take the field on the offense, because the defense needs to take care of business there. Absolutely needs to take care of business. And the offense, it's almost kind of like flip the script. Oh my goodness. I think there's lots of opportunity. Like I said, I think there's a Bo Nix type of game. I think you should go in there and should be confident. I don't think it's all super deep, because I think those safeties do have some skill back there, and I don't think it's a place you always want to be testing. But as far as coverage from the linebackers, as far as coverage from these cornerbacks, I think there's going to be matchups and advantages throughout the evening. I want to see 7 to 12 yard passes go for 15 to 25 yards at times. I think there will be opportunities for that, and yak on our own end as well. So we have to start thinking about some score predictions. So everyone, please start getting those into the chat as we start wrapping up here. But some keys to the game, Jody. If you had to pick out 2-3 keys for the game, what are you looking at? And then we'll get into predictions here in just a moment.
2 big ones for me. One, you got to stop Brock Bowers. After they've traded Jacoby Myers away, they don't have any real elite weapons that scare me, but Brock Bowers is one of them. Don't let him take over this game. That's one. And then 2 kind of go hand in hand. 1, Sean Payton has got to help Bo Nix keep this offense more balanced. He can't get out of whack like he did last week, just throwing the ball all over. We didn't even try to run the football. 4 runs in the first half, that isn't going to cut it. And that ties into, I think that will help Bo Nix get a little more comfortable in the pocket. Settle your feet. Stop trying to run. Stop being so afraid of taking a sack. Like I've said, there are good sacks and bad sacks. And if that means you hanging in the pocket for a couple more seconds, so be it. Trust your O-line. You have one of the best O-lines in football. Even last week, he didn't get a lot of – he had pressure, but he didn't get a lot of pressure from 2 elite pass rushers.
Correct.
This O-line is playing well. At this point, I think Alex Pocheski might be playing his way into a starting left guard position. 1, because he makes so much less money than what Ben Powers does. And 2, he's playing well there.
Fantastic.
And it solidifies a position where you don't have to go address it in the draft or in free agency. It's all right here, and it's one less piece you got to look for. So, but those are the things. Bo Nix, trust your trust your O-line, trust your pocket, trust when you step up in the pocket. You don't always have to be sprinting up in the pocket. You can do a slight shuffle up. You can move in the pocket. That type of things. We seen it last year after the Saints game. Whatever he did in that mini bye into the Panthers game, everything was much crisper. It was a lot better, and it seems to have regressed. And I'd like to see him get back to that because there's plenty of tape with him throwing from in the pocket, and so it's not a can he do it. It's why is it not more consistent?
Mm-hmm. A couple of keys for me. I think we do need to have a good balance as far as our run pass. Even if our run isn't going, we need to stay consistent because without it, the passing is not going to happen, Jody. If I was going to pick out anything on defense, obviously I'll just go the same place you did. Brock Bowers needs to be a key concern. I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to be watching that matchup all game long. But this is my third one, and this is something we didn't talk about in the entire episode, Jody. What I saw the special teams of the Las Vegas Raiders do last week, and then you pair that up with the woes that the Denver Broncos have had on special teams as of lately. Boy, we better get things lined up. As my dad would say, better get your poop in a scoop. All right, because I'm telling you, the one running back we didn't talk about on the Las Vegas Raiders, Raheem Mostert, is absolutely lighting it up on special teams. Had 2 50-plus yard returns versus the Jacksonville Jaguars on kick returns last week. That can't happen versus the Denver Broncos, and it has the potential. So special teams, coverage. Darren Rizzi, holy cow, you better have things dialed up. And I guess everybody better be out on the field. Everyone better be out on the field. Better not be 10 men on the field. I'm just saying. Coach might not like 10 men on the field. Now, but you got to get to some predictions after this, my friend.
And maybe you can answer this or the posse or somebody. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why teams just don't diagonal punt and punt the ball out of bounds where the guy has no chance to run the ball. Why?
Correct.
What are we doing allowing him to catch it in the middle of the field? What are we trying to accomplish with that?
Yeah.
Just punt it out of bounds and be done with it, and that's it.
Yep.
I don't understand why that's not unless there's some behind the scene gentleman's thing. I don't understand. That's the one I don't understand. Then the kickoffs, I understand because if you kick it into the end zone or whatever, they get good field position, and I understand that, but the punts is one that baffles me. There should, in my opinion, that would be as simple as it gets. You tell your punter to diagonally kick, and Crawshaw has such a big leg, just punt it out of bounds.
That's the big difference. I think if you have the big leg, because sometimes if you're not really good at it, you're going to subtract 10 yards off your punt trying to get it out of bounds. And if you're a punter that's already having a trouble getting a good 45-yard punt off, and all of a sudden now you're getting a 35-yard punt off, that could be tragic for your team. And but Crawshaw, when he's crushing a 73-yard punt with a net 53-yard after he puts it into the end zone, you have a little bit of leeway there, right? What I mean? If you had to subtract off 10 yards off your 73-yard punt and be like, oh, he got it out, instead of getting it out of the bounds, at the 1, he got it out of the bounds at the 11. It's only a 63-yard punt. You're right, buddy. I wish I saw more of it. Let's hit some predictions here, and then I'll get yours and mine as we get out of here. The Mile High Dutchie saying 30-10. Loving that. The Lost Vegas Raiders 12. The Denver Broncos 21. Ernie, nice play on words. I like that. And I was going to hit this one real quick before we get into it. This reminded me of a little clip from one of my favorite movies, Pulp Fiction. Check out the big brain on Brad. Mr. Roy Osborne chiming in and saying, Raiders run a lot of cover 3, so run the ball, then come up and go. When they come up, go over the top. That's what he's looking for in this game. Adam and Kayla coming in, got their prediction 31-12. Probably the closest you've come to my prediction over here. And now Albert's saying, no, 30-9, the Raiders shouldn't get a touchdown as far as he's concerned. Michael Ronquillo says we need to stop tight end Brock Bowers, get some turnovers, and that we certainly have an opportunity in this game with the way that Geno Smith has been turning over the ball. And then he's like, man, we still need to clean up those penalties. Still need to take care of business as far as that is concerned. That needs to get better, and that's a good call out, Michael. I like that a lot. Thank you, sir. Dom, good call out, Dom. Dom's given us the closest game prediction, score prediction of the evening. And you never know what it's going to be. So I love that Dom's not just calling it a blowout. He's got a 24-20 Broncos win. Roy's liking the way that Palachos is playing. Phil's liking a 28-9 victory, 3 offensive touchdowns, and 1 on the defense as well. Let's see. If we keep Crosby in check, we won't have any problems scoring on offense, says Martin. Love that, buddy. Any more score predictions? We got Pearl coming in here. Morgan Trinkets. Check out Morgan Trinkets at Morgan Trinkets Co. over on Etsy. She's got a 28-21 victory. I'm only assuming that's for our Denver Broncos. And even even Roy, I'm sorry, with his concerns about this Denver Broncos team from time to time. He's coming in with a victory versus the Las Vegas Raiders, 28-14. Last but not least, I got 2 more. Kenny Kirkpatrick likes a 23-21 Broncos victory. Sorry, but the Broncos games have been too close in the fourth quarter for me to think otherwise. So he's got another one, kind of like that 24-20 that we got from Dom earlier. And then finally, without further ado, Michael Ronquillo comes in with his prediction. Ronk, thanks for all the support. His prediction, 35 for the Broncos, 10 for the Raiders, adding to the number of teams that have scored over 30 points on the Raiders. That would be the 5th team so far this year. Interested to see how you think this is going to play out. Raiders, again, searching for their 3rd win of the season. Broncos searching for their 8th win. It's a short week. It's Thursday night football. It ruins Jody's Sunday. But regardless, he's going to give us a prediction of this game. What do you think it's going to go like, buddy?
I'm going to go 31-10, I think, especially since it was brought up first thing in Peyton's press conference Monday. They know that Bo's antsiness in the pocket, not hanging there, is a problem, and I think it's going to be focused on hard this week. And I look for them to kind of open up this pass game a little bit more like they did last week. I think they will connect. Peyton will realize he's got to be more balanced with the run game. And until I see somebody do something on this defense, the Raiders are not the team to do it. I think Bowers will still get some plays off, but I think they will contain him. And this is a game that you can feel at the end of this game, you can feel pretty confident on your mini bye headed to Kansas City. And then you got 2 powerhouses, and we'll see what happens there.
Very good, man. 31-10 victory by Jody, the Judge Moncrief. That's his prediction. Rodney Garcia is coming in here and says, good morning, gents. Good morning to you, Rodney, wherever you may be, because it's certainly not morning here. I feel pretty good about this game. He says, I think Bowers, though, will still get his, and he'll still end up with 2 touchdowns. That said, he comes in here with a 27-23 either way. So could go either way in his opinion. Ooh, Rodney, only guy that's got got a prediction possibly for the Raiders, I think, if I'm reading that correctly. Jody, no fooling around. I really thought that the Broncos defense was going to be able to limit the Texans offense enough that the Broncos would put up some pretty good points versus the Houston Texans. I was wrong. You can see the 18 to 15 victory I have posted over my shoulder. Victory nonetheless, we'll take it. But this is a game that I do feel like they can get some momentum. They can get some points going. They can get Bo looking good and put some points up on the board. I think this is going to be tough just because it's a short week. I almost didn't go quite this many points for the Denver Broncos. I got a 31-13 victory written off here to the side. So very close to what you had as well, my friend. I think the Broncos should be able to handle business up and down. I think that there will be some points given up by the Broncos, but they're both on a short week. The Raiders had to go on the road. I don't know if any of you all have been watching some of these home games, but my goodness, this fan base, that stadium is louder than it's been in years. This has become a very, very difficult place to play once again for the opposing team. I don't expect it to be any less for the Raiders. Let them have it. Let them have it. Let's push it to 8-2. Let's get to the bye week, and let's get prepared for the Kansas City Chiefs. But don't look ahead. Don't look ahead. Yeah, I got some Mile High Magic. And who is the favorite in the AFC? What AFC getting to the Super Bowl? I'll say right now, the Broncos. The Broncos are going to be the favorite. That's what I'm going to say. Roy's saying, trust me, it's loud. He was just there a few weeks ago. Jody, fantastic episode. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, my friend?
Just handle your business. Don't overlook this game. You've built a 2-game lead on Kansas City, and you can throw that all away with, a bad loss to Oakland or LA or Vegas. I'll get it one of these. A bad loss to the Raiders. So don't throw it all away because you're overlooking the Raiders for next week. You will have plenty of time for next week after Thursday. Just get this game done, get out of here healthy, work on some things, and have a game that you can build off of going in, hosting Kansas City next week, because it's a big game.
It's a big game, but you're right, man. Don't look past this one. Only one game over the Chargers, so we need to go ahead and stretch out that lead if we possibly can, says Roy Osborne. Can't look past this one. But this is what I'm saying, man. Like, I started off the very top, man. Wasn't that long ago we were begging for a primetime game. We got a Thursday night football game. Go out there, show everyone. Show everyone exactly who you are. If my 31-13, if you're 30-10 or 31-10 or whatever you had written down as well, Jody, I forget exactly your prediction, but
31-10.
31-10, I was right. 31-10. If that comes true, I think that it sets the stage. It puts us on that stage. It tells everybody out there as well. Take care of business versus the Raiders. Stretch it out to 8-2. Get yourself in a great position and get to the bye week, man. Thank you, everybody, man. Posse, you've been hopping. You were amazing. Made this episode go so freaking fast. And also, man, so freaking fun. And I appreciate every single one of you that came in, chimed in, was part of this conversation. The Pearls and the Roys and the Ernies and the Michaels and the Phils and the star givers like Michaels and Phils and everybody that makes the world go around, man. Appreciate and love you all. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself out there in these crazy, crazy times. But that being said, man, we're going to be going post-game right after the game. Can't wait to be doing that. Make sure you're tuning in. You're hitting that like, share, subscribe button so you know when we're going live, though it's pretty easy. Just chime in where you've been chiming in all night long. And check us out right after the game. Right after the game tomorrow night. It's going to be a fun one. I'll have you all in here having a great time. We go live every Wednesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, like you're watching right now. We also come back on a Monday morning with the Morning Juice, me and Kenny Kirkpatrick, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We go post-game after every single game, like you're going to be checking us out tomorrow night. And, of course, we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Facebook or on YouTube. Love all the love that you show us on any of those platforms, whether it be a thumbs up or a 5-star review or whatever you want to do for us. Much love and much appreciation. But we got to get out of here. Make sure you enjoy that game, Broncos country. It should be a fantastic one. Let's put it to bed. Let's get to 8-2, and let's get to the bye week. But we'll get out of here by saying your boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, of course, the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until tomorrow night, we're going to get out of here. Mile high salute. Have a good night, everybody.